Good morning. Warm welcome back. Very happy to have this chance to reconnect after this 1 week period. And I would be really happy to hear your insights of the last week, further to the retreat, and how is the practice going? You can give yourself a indication in the chat. And so we have these amazing tools, and this chance, however, to meet is a way to re-inspire each other, reignite, and also go into further depth. This quote by Einstein, he says, "Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts." So this emphasis on the invisible, that what we see with physical eyes, it doesn't mean that it counts. In ultimate way, we can't take it with us. And we are training this Paris spiritual side to grasp, experience the treasures which we have and we are within the self. This is what counts, it's what goes with us. So nice to see the insights. We have more attachments than I realized. That's true. There's a quote in Vietnamese, "You don't know your chains until you move." You as if need to realize, but then we can be free. And maybe one quote by Eliot, he said, "We shall not cease from exploring, from exploration, and at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." This extraordinary journey. So thank you for the sharings. It's very rich to hear from you all. The more we understand knowledge, we understand the purpose, understanding the drama more clearly, understanding identities, the friend and also the enemy we can grasp. So I'd like to invite Prashantan at this point, and good morning.
Thank you, and hello, and welcome back. Yeah, I'm sure you all had a good week, an opportunity to reflect and experience. We'll quickly revise some ideas that we covered over the week. Most important thing for us was the lower consciousness and higher consciousness. And would like to tell me one word that becomes the cause of lower consciousness? Sarah is suggesting anything to me?
Yeah, just we can see the whiteboard. Attachment, RAM.
Sure.
False identity, body consciousness. Raven.
Yeah, the word I was referring to. Yeah, that is true. Everything what you said is right. But dependency, and that word attachment, we understand that word as dependency. Then only it has meaning. In English, that word has other meanings. And why the dependency is a problem? Because this world that we are dealing with is unpredictable. So more I become dependent on that world, more becomes my problems of all kind, all sorrows and vices, and all it becomes complicated. Or we create more attachments and create ego, and we try to become free from it, but it traps us further. We also saw the seed of all this, very fact that something that is so obvious and we get deceived by this is because of the intellect, confusion, ignorance, stone intellect. That is the cause. It creates literally demons, and a Ravan is created. And if you see on this planet, and there are all kinds of actions and people experiencing things, people experiencing sorrow, they give sorrow. And there are people who want to cheat and people who want to hoard and everything, all kinds of bizarre behaviors. Its origin is creating dependency and unnecessary, something that is not ours. It's a foreign word. It is temporary word. It is so obvious, but they get trapped into it. They even define themselves based on things in the foreign world. We have to ask ourselves, even in the last hour, how much free I was from that. Knowing all this, how free and what level of trap is there. We use the image of a honeybee who is drowning in a honey pot. We are in that situation. We are drowning into this honey pot, and it suffocates us. It stops us flying, and we think answer is more honey. This kind of twisted logic we got. And in such a world, to create clarity, we spoke of 1 minute when you are completely stepping out of this. It's like a big secret to this human riddle, becoming soul conscious and discovering what it is like to be out of that honeypot, what it is like to breathe normally. And we also saw this so-called coming out, it connects you to supreme possibilities, what human beings can experience. His innate original nature of happiness he experiences. He experiences his original contentment and peace. He discovers he's secure. All these things follow. First step is he just steps out. And this is such a thing, anyone can come into this experience. 1 minute, 2 minutes, we can create this time and stay back. Become that invisible witness of the story. And then you understand the contrast, what has happened to us and what is happening to everyone else. You also see what they were in the beginning. We saw the complications that come once we are in the wrong direction. And if we are in a wrong position, it brings pain. Same, simple, we see it in our ordinary life. Same thing is happening on a big scale. All the machinery of sorrow and misfortunes that exist just because of this one wrong position. And that wrong position is crossing that dotted line, dotted green line. Very relevant for us. And for us to know what it is like to not to cross the line. Alokik, subtle, invisible, divine, eternal, that is our world. We saw an image And that is very important for us. It is such a relief to know that we have a home. And that is our world. This world, including the body and the role, and Prashant, is all part of the foreign world. Foreign world, just it is nice. We can use that in a song. It's a foreign world, but at a practical level, it is a foreign world means I have no rights on it of any kind. It is my absurdity to come in this world and expect and demand and as if entitlement, approach this world with entitlement. That is bizarre behavior. No rights. Second to second, things can just change, things can just go. That is what we mean by being a witness. 3 principles we have to remember. This world is a foreign world, the world that we see around. We are guests in this world, and that everyone is very lucky. They all are very lucky, not because of the wonderful technology in this foreign world. They are lucky because of their world. Their world is world with God, world of God. They are lucky because who they are angelic, divine beings, angelic royals. And this is without exaggeration. This is the way everyone is. They are beyond harm. Their world is of perfection and fullness and eternal celebration. World of love and happiness. And no one can change this. This is the way things exist. All are naturally positive, and the world is positive. So there is lots of reasons to say that they are very lucky. If they are not experiencing it, it is because of their confusion and bondage. That is the only thing. If we want to help ourselves, if we want to help others, these are the 2 areas we have to work. Free them from bondage and free them from confusion. Take any step that helps this to improve in this area, even the slightest. Even if 1% you become free from bondage by taking any step, take that step. You will come closer to clarity, 1%, take that step. And that is what our journey is, upward spiral. Creating few minutes of experience, see revision, that takes you up the spiral. So let us hear from you. You want to add anything? That was a quick overview of what we spoke.
Someone is sharing that they feel it's quite brave to engage fully in the world whilst maintaining the mindset of being a guest. It would be easier to retreat in order to maintain the mindset. If you have any thoughts around this.
No, we like to be guests at different places. We like to go on holidays, and enjoy it. And so it is not a problem. Just we have to increase the clarity. More we have the paras intellect, more we are able to see the bigger map, more we are engaged with our real world, our home, then we can more easily see the foreign world as a foreign world. Guest becomes very immersed. The exit becomes very clear. Even though it is not in 1 week, but still it is very clear because your map is bigger. You are seeing with a bigger map.
When we're with others, we get to see clearly where we are at. So in a way, it creates opportunity to be real, but we get triggered. This is as if we identify and then we think that life is in and of the box. But was reflecting today that all are angelic. The personality of the invisible traveler is rich inner life, noble. So we can see others like that. But the question is, are they working for themselves or are they self-sabotaging? So to be with others is to first be clear who we are and experience it and see others as that. Whether or not they're conscious is another story. Someone sharing, be engaged with our own subtle, happy world. We have to be careful not to be influenced by others. So,
Excellent. Now we'll come to the subject of today. What we are going to see today is our journey in this physical level. We saw it has a beginning, it has an end. In a simple way, we have shown here as if he's passing through. We sometimes use the language, he's flying past this world. He's the invisible traveler just flying past. And all these are good. That gives us the experience of detachment and freedom. But when we come into the details, this journey from the beginning to the end, it goes through many, many phases. There is more details. We already saw there is reincarnation and different phases. We'll see that in more detail. This is a useful subject, what we are going to discuss today for sociology students. It gives the spiritual model of sociology. And spiritual just means we go at a deep level. So that makes it the most essential model in sociology for the sociology department. So what happens during this journey? We go through different phases. Just as during the lifetime of a human being. If you see their photographs, when it's photograph of a 2-year-old, 10-year-old, 20-year-old, 40-year-old, you see the photographs and you say, wow, it is the same person. How much change has happened in this person. Sometimes you get this, AI is showing how a person, some actor or someone, how he changed, over the period of time, and it gives you certain realization. Goodness, it's the same person changes so much, and this happens to everyone. Here in this journey, it is journey of the soul. We go through these different phases. There is a time I'm going to speak some words in Hindi, Sanskrit. We'll explain more as we go into the details. There is a phase, we call it the Brahmin phase. And each phase has its own energy. The one who is in the Brahmin phase, his energy is love for knowledge. The result of the Brahmin phase is the next phase. We call it the deity phase. Do you want to tell what is the energy of the deity?
It's peaceful, it's pure, it's loving, it's angelic.
It is true, but the most dominant energy is a happiness. They're happy no matter what. They do everything with happiness. They take happiness, give happiness. That is their energy of the deities. Happiness comes with friends, but there is no reason for them to lose happiness. That is the deity. And that deities don't last forever. They go into the next phase. The next phase is called the warrior phase. And what is the energy of the warrior? We say courage. That they are not able to do the things with happiness. Deities could do the same thing with happiness. And warriors, they are doing the same thing, but they can't access that highest energy of happiness. Next best, they do it with the courage. After the warrior comes merchant. And merchant, they are not even having courage. So they go to the still lower level. They're looking for comfort. Means they want a secure position, secure situation, and then they can eat properly. And they don't want risk taking like warriors, courage. That is not their priority. The same soul going through these different phases. It is a journey of each and everyone on the planet, regardless of what they are doing today, and they may be in different countries, different religions, but the journey of the soul goes through these different phases. After merchant comes another phase, and we call this Shudra. And what is the energy of the Shudra? Energy of the Shudra is laziness. All the energies are running out. So it goes to lower level, lazy. And after Shudra, what is the state after Shudra? After Shudra is demonic state. And in this, it is the opposite of the deity. So it has to be one of sorrow. Deities take happiness, give happiness. When we are in the demon phase, take sorrow, give sorrow. And after the demon, we come back in the Brahmin phase. And this come back. So we are talking of the cyclical nature of our journey. Anything that is eternal can exist in a cyclical state. And so the soul is eternal, and it starts in a certain level, and it comes back where it starts. This is the model. We will be going into more details. But anything you want to add at this point?
There may be questions coming, but nothing right now.
Yeah. So let us come to the Brahmin. what happens when we are in the Brahmin phase. As was said, every one on the planet, there is a time when they are in the Brahmin phase. And when they are in the Brahmin phase, most dominant feature in them is love for knowledge. So you will find them in the libraries, in the bookshops. They are carrying the books. So that is love for knowledge. Sometimes people may be doing many things. They may be in business or something. But if you go into their lives, they like to read. They have read so many books during their lifetime. If they are traveling somewhere, they will have books in their hand. They are reading. They're thirsty for knowledge, information. So these are people who are in the Brahmin phase. And the other qualities in them, they will have simplicity, less complications. Different other phases have, there is no simplicity, but Brahmins will have simplicity. They have cleanliness. At all levels, you will find there is cleanliness there. There will be those who will be having something to do with community. So they want to serve the community. So they naturally have instinct. They don't, because they have knowledge, they have wisdom. They think of what is right, what is good for others. They will come with charity projects. But spirit of service is very natural for them. They will have something to do with God. God is a symbol of wisdom, knowledge, truth. They will not be saying, "Oh, God doesn't exist," or atheist. They're more likely. Anything is possible, but those who are in the Brahmin phase are more likely to have this, search for God. There is a deeper instinct to know God and search for God. Want to know about it because they know there is a secret, there is some secrets of knowledge which we need to know. So Brahmin phase is the phase when they are going up. They go up, the upliftment of the soul happens. If the one who is in the Brahmin phase is lucky, then what may happen? They come in contact with the highest knowledge. That is that one can be in the Brahmin phase and studying some history somewhere or some anthropology. Everything is knowledge. So that is, but that is spiritual knowledge. If we are lucky, then they are in a Brahmin A1 phase under special omens. So if they do come across spiritual knowledge, then they come into the next phase. Just being a Brahmin, you don't end up becoming a deity. But if you come across the right knowledge and opportunity, they become the deity. As I said, then you are taken up, and you are going up the spiral. Upliftment happens then. What is the sign of the deity? What happens with the deity? We said predominantly there is happiness. Many people are happy in this world also. Many people are happy. But happiness of the deities, do you want to tell what's the difference between happiness of the deities and happiness of some Mr. President here, and happiness of the deity president? What's the difference? Both are happy. And this person also says, I'm happy right now.
Security. One type is permanent, one is dependency. Deity is awake to the soul, soul conscious. One is money, material things, and others not needed for happiness.
What happens with the happiness of the present time? There is the mind is hardwired for the victim, and mind is hardwired for the beggar mentality. So that doesn't go. They feel themselves to be victims, potential victim. Things can change, things can go. Yesterday someone broke something. So all these things matter for the Ravan's world. And right now there is a cake, so there is happiness, but with the undercurrents. There are all these undercurrents are there, all kinds. Past trauma is also there, and what might happen tomorrow is also there. Cake is there, but he also thinks after some time that cake won't be there. So that was so a little concern. Subconsciously and consciously, there are these other undercurrents. Victim program is running in the background, and outside he's dancing disco, but that that lowers the whole fun about this. These undercurrents are, and that is what they think. That's the best they know about happiness. Whereas for the deity, that background victim program is not running. There is no undercurrents. There is absolute wonder. He knows the story. That is a great story. There are dragons also in the story, and things change, but it's a great story. And he knows of his world, perfection of his world. So he's happy, inner fullness. He knows what is eternal and secure. Yeah, all these factors are there. But he also gives happiness. Take happiness, give happiness, no matter what. His nature ends up, because he deals with happiness. He is not necessarily planning, I want to make others happy, but his life just creates happiness around him. This presents, if in his life 100 things are going wrong, one thing going right, he sees what one thing that is going right. Someone has 10 defects, one virtue. He sees virtues of others. He sees naturally, he knows the greatness of others. As a result, he has silent respect for others and love for others. But it is universal. It is not, I love someone and I don't love someone. He loves everyone. His whole personality is authentic. He's not doing this because some management program, someone told him, if you do this, you will get more business. No, his nature is of that. Because in bottom line, he's a deity because soul conscious. There is no Ravan there. There is no ego, which also means there are no Vinash forces. So he becomes lucky. Forces of honor So there will be a pattern you will see. There is naturally things move in the direction, and he finds himself lucky in life. With the body, he's lucky with the health also. So if you go his medical history, most of the time there are no problems, or even small problems. It is easy for him to fix the small problems. He may get some pandemic, some virus, but mild version. It can be treated easily. He doesn't need to use mask. More likely to be no mask department. No vaccine. He doesn't need vaccine.
Quite controversial, but maybe that is by the by. But main thing is they feel secure and they are a trustee.
That's right, yes.
But we get the point. Yeah. They have a strong immune system.
Yes, yes. If the mind is healthy, the body, everything falls in place. Mind is in place, soul is in place. Ravan is not there. That's why deity. Demon is not there. But as we see, no, we don't stay in one state forever. So he finds himself in the next phase, and that is the warrior phase. I just need to fix some, charging here. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, that sounds important. It's a nice question. Do people like deities exist now? Maybe you would like to share your thoughts. Do others think, do we have deities now in this phase? Do you meet them in the world? Mm. What is
Those
the
who are coming on this planet for the first time, they are in that deity phase. Of course, there is a big difference. Deities who come in the very beginning of the time. We'll speak about different ages. We will have the sessions soon, tomorrow. But those who are here for the first time, and they are more in that direction of the deity warrior. So here in the warrior phase, so in this phase, their main energy is of courage, we saw. And courage presents itself as adventure. They have this spirit of adventure. The risk taking is easy for them. Competition is very natural. They get drawn into competition. They are also, if there need be, they are ready to fight, solve everything with battle, fight. And they are those who like to dominate. They want to be in charge. They are in that warrior. So they are those with courage, you know, they have the spirit of adventure, risk taking. How did how did those who were deities end up being the warrior? They were deities, they were happy, their life was going well. How come they find themselves in the warrior phase? What happened?
Good question. So they drop as if from that 100%. No answers coming as yet. Loss of energy, yes. So they dropped in energy. And how did they lose the energy? Honeybee story was is coming to mind with someone. So maybe they started to get stuck in the honey. Maya caught them up, got them caught up in the honey.
Yeah, the first thing is they got into the attachments. You create a first bondage, first dependency, and what happens? That is insecurity. You start saying something is mine, and then you can lose it. So there is insecurity, there is fear. That is why they need courage. You need courage because there is a fear. Deities, they don't have fear because they can lose nothing. At a deep level, conscious or subconscious, there is no fear in deities. In a warrior, they just created this first bondage, and then you are already into different game. And if we often say if a glass of milk, you put little bit of poison, it becomes poison. So in the mind that is happy, you bring little bit of fear, then you can't get that happiness of the deities anymore. So there's already something else. And that's why it is presenting as this is the best, second best they can go for, show courage. And so they do things with courage. As an example, deities may climb the mountain. They might like walking and climbing, and they do many things like this. But they do this with happiness. And just yesterday, I was hearing a story of one friend of ours in Germany, and he's more than 90, but until recently, he has been climbing and he has been, doing things and driving also, even now he's driving. So these are people who are fairly lucky, but they are doing it out of, they are in the deity phase. They're lucky, with health, lucky with life, things are going easy, but they are not doing it to prove to somebody. They just enjoy, that whatever the life. Warrior, they will also climb the rock, but it is with a different energy of courage. Deity will go to Mount Everest, not to prove to others, not to get some certificate from others. They climb Mount Everest, they enjoy the whole thing and the journey. They enjoy the experience. They might not even tell anyone. Warriors will climb Mount Everest, but they will take their flag there. They want to climb Mount Everest before you. They are in competition. It's a different energy with which they go there. They will put their photograph in the Facebook. So in different ways it presents, and you see this difference, deity personality and warrior personality. Deities, they are happy, like in the middle of the night, you ask them, shall we go for a walk? They say, of course, yes, sure. That they would like to please you, but they are happy also. They are happy in making others happy. That is the very deity personality. Warrior will do this, but they will feel a little bit of a courage is used. In the middle of the night, they have to use courage to do this. Deities will do it with happiness. You have to wash some 10 pots. Deities will do it with happiness. Warrior will do it with different energy. They will, bit like a compulsion, hated compulsion. They are dealing with it. But they will do it, but with a different energy. Deities, they will do it with happiness. One is as good as anything else, this kind of thinking. How we don't stay in warrior phase even forever. We come to the next level, and next level is merchant. And when we reach merchant, we don't even have the energy of the warrior. Courage is not there. So we come to the next level, and that is comfort. So they say, okay, you can rule. They don't want to worry too much about that. Who rules? You rule, but buy my supplies. You take orders from me. So that is most important for the merchant, to make some profit. So they are looking for comforts, to feel secure. That is important for them. Food is very important for them. Somehow they like to eat more food. Their life is around money. Money is very important. For a warrior, weapon is very important. And the Brahmins worship books, scriptures. Warriors worship weapons. They may literally worship weapons. Merchants worship money. That is ultimate. They live because of money. They have a sense of opulence. They want to show off their wealth. Opulence means that. Like they will have a big car that it is meant to show others and that I have wealth. They want to use diamonds and they want to announce it, show it to others. If they are giving gift to someone else, they will show to others what gift they are giving to others. Just culturally, merchant culture is that, to show what they are doing, what they have got. How will merchant go to Mount Everest? We say deities will go with happiness, warriors will go with their flag. How will the merchants go to Mount Everest?
If they're sponsored. Glamping, so it's like glamorous, sort of expensive camping helicopter.
They will not go to Mount Everest, but they will sell the tickets, arrange groups that go to Mount Everest. Their priority is to get some commission. They say, this is the great, yeah, Mount Everest is very important. They will arrange brochure. They know exactly how to promote it. And they're happy with that. And in medical language, there are personality types or body types. They are endomorphs. Endomorphs are usually those who are fed. They like food, and all of this is like making them secure. You know, those who are warriors, they are mesomorphs, they are muscular, and Brahmins, they are ectomorphs. It means they are clever, you know, big brain. So that is some personality body types. How would you say, how come those who were warriors become merchants? What happened? Warriors, they were having this courage and adventure and competition, and now suddenly they don't want competition. They want to build a fence and stay behind in the secure and be with their money.
Exhausted with being a warrior. More honey, lose energy, more fear from someone's written it sounds like middle age.
Yeah, what really happens? We are in that spiral, downward spiral. More attachments, more bondages. So now he has got children, grandchildren, cat, dog, television, and he has got different bills to pay and all these complications. He has got this expansion of the household, bondages after bondages. So to be taking care of all this, adventure is not his priority. Risk taking is not his priority. He has to take care of all this. So he has to work with secure life, comfortable life, proper supply of food. That is more important for him than adventure. Just a personality, but there is a reason for this personality. There are more bondages. Next phase is he comes in the Shudra phase. And as was said, when we are in this phase, there is less energy. So one who is in this phase, there is laziness. Laziness of the head presents as dullness. Things get distorted. You can explain something and you hear back, it is all gone pear-shaped. So that is very Shudra. Things get distorted, dullness. But along with that, there is another factor in Shudra. And what is this factor? There is a tendency towards indulgence. Because the Ravan has been getting bigger. As you are going down the spiral, Ravan's departments, they are getting bigger. As a warrior, as a merchant. But at the Shudra level, Ravan is just, much, much dominant. And so the language sometimes gets used, hits. I don't know, in the different cultures, there may be different words for this. He had coffee, what next? Maybe chewing gum, what next? Maybe watch some video or some, what next? Or maybe chocolate. It is like a one hit after other because these different heads of Ravan, they have their needs and he has to supply Ravan's needs. Ravan is the one who feels he will die if he doesn't get this, he will die. You go to the household of a Brahmin, You will see cleanliness, books, some inspiring photograph, inspiring slogans on the wall. You go to the household of a warrior, you might see some swords, ancestral photographs with medals, skin of a tiger somewhere. You go to the household of a merchant, you will see, glitter, and so, they want to show off how much they have got. Diamonds and things made of gold, and food, smell of food. Go to the household of a Shudra, and maybe uncleanliness, opposite of the Brahmin, unclean. And everything is more complicated. With Brahmin, it is simple. Here, everything is complicated. Deity, you go to the household of a deity, there is less expense and more style, and but less expense. More taste, because the mind is very clear. Deity means the richness of the heart, richness of the head. And so more taste and less expense. Tasteful, simple things, but it all appears just right. They have not spent millions on it. Merchants will have to spend a lot. So more expense, less taste, because intellect is not clear. It is confusion. You're into the Ravan's world, there's confusion. Shudras are even more confused. So everything is complicated. Simple thing, they have to buy so many things just to solve some little things. Do you know anyone in the Shudra phase in your town?
Quickly responding yeses.
How will the Shudra go to Mount Everest?
Well, if the merchant doesn't go, doesn't look like he will go. He will go online, maybe webcast. He won't through YouTube, maybe computer game. He will never go.
He will be watching others climb Mount Everest whilst drinking his coffee, in his television room. So that is idea of Everest for Shudra. Then comes demon. Demon is opposite of the deity. Shudra is opposite of the Brahmin, and demon is virtually opposite of the demon. Demon is the opposite of the deity. And so life is of sorrow. For smallest reason, he is quick at taking offense, quick at giving offense. That is very typical of the demon. You do everything right, but they will distort it, make it everything wrong. They will see it, they can create problem of nothing. That is very demonic. Twist everything. Like one example, say someone is playing good cricket, and you ask the demon, is he playing good cricket? He says he plays terrible football. They will focus whole thing on football, and they are talking about football, but they want to avoid discussion on cricket. So that is, the demon want to focus on the negative. It is opposite of the deity. Deity will see one virtue and there are 10 defects, but they focus on the virtue. They treat others with respect. They inspire, they bring out the best in others also. Whereas in the company of the demon, they are focusing on the negative. They will say that you are bad, and bring out the bad, and others want to run away from them. So this is like a demonic personalities. Uh, in their own lives, 10 things may be going right, one thing going wrong. They will focus on that one wrong thing. That vocabulary may be also along these lines. Wrong. That word wrong maybe. This is unfair, this kind of language. So they feel everything is wrong. They are so unlucky. This doom and gloom, that is their focus. But in the face of good, everything is going good. But mind is such that it sees, distorts everything, and ends up taking sorrow, and it will end up giving sorrow. Anger is very, they may suppress anger, the fake, and all that can also go on, you know, pretense and all that can go on, dramatics that can go on. But underneath, there's sorrow taking and sorrow giving. Agenda is of giving sorrow. It's a huge swing. And the same one who was a deity ends up becoming a demon. Everyone goes to its own lowest. It is not that demon. If you read the newspapers, you will see the big news of whatever that is going on in the world, and you see overt demonic personalities. But each soul reaches his own lowest, taking sorrow and even thought of giving sorrow. Then there is a fraction of the demon there, hurting someone else. Maybe with words, maybe with something, maybe creating a gang against someone. All these are like the demonic tendencies. The one who gets the biggest penalty is himself, and others may get 1% of the demon. He is negative and but others can run away from them. But he cannot run away from himself. So it is a painful life for the demon. That's why it forces him to change. The one who is in the demon phase, he is the one who has to change and become Brahmin. So that becomes the next phase. Swing takes place from that lowest level demon, swings to the Brahmin phase. So there are some examples. One example in London, someone who was literally a tramp staying at a disused railway platform and in prison sometimes, in the street sometimes, addictions, crime, that kind of a life. And whilst he was in prison, at one time something changed, and realized that he he has to change. Started going to library, the prison library, started choosing books to read, and they are all of self-transformation books, and ends up becoming a Brahmin student and giving talks. We invite him to Cambridge sometimes, and people like to hear his personal story. Real example of how from the lowest one changes and becomes Brahmin. Like a good demonstration. But such is the life, such is the journey of these souls through different births, different Different phases are in different births. So one can be a Brahmin for 1 or 2 births, then a deity, maybe many births. It is not just one, maybe many births. A warrior for many births, or merchant. This is the way our journey is. We take lots of the rebirths, and the journey of the soul may go through different phases, different time. If when he is in the Brahmin phase, if that foundation is strong, Brahmin foundation is strong, then the deity phase will be strong. Deity phase will last longer in some form. And then he still has to go through other phases, but the deity phase will dominate largely. If the Brahmin phase is not very strong, he has knowledge, he's close to knowledge, understand everything, but it is not very strong, then the deity phase will be shorter. He will spend more time in other phases. There are reasons why there is a variety in this world. There are reasons. We said at the beginning, this is a model of the sociology. If you take a cross section of your city or any place, any village, any town, you take a cross section of that place, you will see some percentage there for Brahmins, some percentage who are in the deity phase, some percentage Shudras, you will get this percentage. And that decides the quality of the place. In one place, how people drive on the street, these factors decide. Not because there are lots of cars, or regardless of what happens, those who are in the Brahmin deity and warrior at that level, they create one kind of city, where everyone enjoys to be in that city. As the ratio changes, there are more Shudra, more demon, then the dynamics changes in that same city, same town, because the dominant forces are different. Recently, there is a happiness index, and some countries, one thing they say, they trust the system, they trust the government, they trust other person, they trust the schools, they trust doctors. And some people, no one trusts anybody. They have the different structure. You want to add anything?
Yes, thank you. There are some questions. Some of them have been answered as we've gone through, but maybe one, what would the demon think about Everest?
They might think that is a good place to rob people, maybe. There are some people go on the Himalayas to rob the pilgrims. So here also, they might think it is they might climb Mount Everest, but for different reasons.
Yeah. And how would the Brahmins approach Everest?
It will be nice to hear from you. How will Brahmin climb Mount Everest? You won't answer. Anyone else won't answer?
Well, they read about it into books. That's one thought.
Just read and not climb.
They don't climb. There's another. I don't know. Yes, they just read about it.
Brahmins won't go on Mount Everest. Why? It is such a waste of time. Mount Everest, to go. when there are so many things we can do over here, there is need over here. Who want to climb Mount Everest, and get into some competition or whatever reason you go on Mount Everest, when there are so many issues in your town, in your place. Can you imagine someone like Gandhi going to Mount Everest? For what purpose? And then some risk taking and die for whose benefit? It is merchants, and it is the warriors who can get drawn into competition of that kind, and it is a useless activity. And that is the way Brahmins see. So Brahmins they got so much to do, they are here. Their time is precious, they see, and things they can do here. That would be his reason not to go to Mount Everest.
Someone has written, they will create the Everest around them.
Yeah, that's nice.
And someone's asking, do you mean real Everest or metaphorical? And I think we're talking about the real Everest.
Real, yeah. But it is like, even though we might have said deities go to Mount Everest every day after breakfast, it is a little bit, metaphorical, I think.
that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Brahmins will visualize, maybe. Yeah, they might go to meditate, but still they don't need to go there. They maybe have a different peak of peace. How to protect ourselves from demons?
First is we have to protect from our own demon. Demon of others is not harming us as much as the demon within ourselves. Like say there are some terrorists, there's some terror. How much are you affected by these terrorists? Some dictators. How much are you affected? Maybe 0%. But the demon within us and demon within you, it has blocked you from this extraordinary truth. This extraordinary, the biggest prize is right in front of everyone, and one who is actively blocking you, keeping this invisible angel unconscious, is the demon. So this is the first thing for us to protect us from the demon within us. And that's where our whole, our method and discussion is how to win over Ravan.
So yeah, there are many questions, but one that's come up. What if you feel you have different tendencies and aspects of these personalities, like someone is sharing, for example, they recognize sort of a negative disposition and in the self and also others, but also a thirst for knowledge. So can we be in more than one phase at one time?
Sure. What happens is we are all the time moving, going from one phase to the other phase, so there is always confluence. Someone might see he has got warrior phase, warrior tendencies and merchant tendencies. Some might say they got more of the merchant rather than the Shudra. All these things are there. But if we got even 1% of Shudra, that means we have gone to that level. And at the present time, a large majority have got there. Shudra tendency, which means there is a tendency towards indulgence in some percentage. There is tendency to distort. The very fact that this is a story world and we are we are seeing that as our world. That means there is still Shudra there, and a lot can be done at that level. So this knowledge takes a position to see that we all have gone quite down in our now, but regardless of where we are, and we may be having some tendency of the deity even, but where we are, we have to fast forward. And what do we do? Fast forward and be the Brahmin. It is not possible for us to say, I want to become a deity. That is not possible because that the tendency of this world is on the downward trajectory. Everyone is moving in that downward trajectory, and so we can become a student. Brahmin means a student, but we cannot say from today I'm going to become a deity. But that is good enough to fast forward, become a Brahmin, be a student. Then Brahmin becomes a deity. Because Brahmin is the phase as a student you learn what the details, how the things can be changed, and you become a deity, bring about the deity personality within you. From the first day you start, the moment you understood soul consciousness, you are sowing the seed of the deity. So that is the aim for us.
And you can't really tell from external, because one question is, would Brahmins on this path, do they have to be demonic before, or can they be very different before coming across ideas of the Brahmin?
Yeah, as was said, when we use the word demonic, taking sorrow, that tendency, that is demonic. Being sensitive, taking offense. So in some percentage, we all have gone in that direction. And we said the lowest in one person may not be the same as for you, but we all go to our own lowest. And that is low compared to our deity phase and Brahmin phase. We all have come down. That is low. Now is the time to move up.
Mm.
Broadly, to understand this, we don't compare ourselves with someone else's demonic level.
And I think what you were sharing earlier, one phase predominates if you are faced with a choice. Sometimes that example has helped me, like Friday evening, you have the option of something like something to nourish your spiritual journey, but there's also a football match and there's also some sporting event, some warrior activity or a party or a Brahmin related. One more predominates, even if we notice the different phases. And the option to leapfrog, as if bypass, you get the flavor of that mind of sorrow, and we don't need to analyze or honor it. We can use it as a springboard to come out. Because one comment is it's a big jump from demon to Brahmin, but that's where we want the intellect to help us to make that shift. So yes, we've acknowledged a few queries, good questions and comments. Maybe now would be a good time for a short break for discussion. The question could be, what is the method to create change, win over Ravan, and to create a deity? Is it okay?
Yeah.
So we just put that in a chat. I hope it's just something to start the discussion. So enjoy. We'll open up the rooms and see you back in just over 10 minutes. Thank you.
First was just keep a good company. You are in a journey. Choose your friends better when they are in the same journey, and you can just share what you're going through and encourage each other. The other thing was, if you have a bad mood or something, go to meditate, go to a deep yoga and collect again the energy to overcome whatever comes. So yes, yoga from time to time, definitely when there is a low mood. Another thing I liked very much is use emergency brake. Meaning when there are those thoughts running here and there, negative thoughts in the mind, or you hear something from the outside, just use the emergency brake, stop those thoughts and change them. Don't accept negative words from others. Don't accept negative thoughts that come within you. Just stop them and bring definitely positive thoughts. And if it is a right moment, then you can say some positive words in front of someone after judging if it will be heard in a right way. So kind of feel the pulse and then act, respond accordingly. Never mind to stay silent in front of someone angry on you or insulting you or whatnot. Just don't react. Stay calm and if it's possible to respond in a right way, which touch, because we know that in every act of anger, any harsh words, there is hidden a request, actually. The one in front of you is begging for something from you. And if you are clear enough and free enough to hear that, then you can respond in the best way for him. So yes, stay positive and practice. Take this beautiful model into your life, because it is a fortune and we have to understand this fortune and to realize and to agree to accept this. It's not a small thing. It's not a small thing to know that this extraordinary, let's call them points of knowledge, that we are souls, eternal souls, immortal souls. Nothing can touch us, harm us. And as souls we lack nothing. So we need nothing from anything in this physical world. This brings the security that we are looking for decades. And from this base, those feelings of unconditional love, respect, peace, and whatnot can emerge naturally and like a lighthouse and lighthouse for others. So that's thoughts from here. Thank you.
Feel like you're really speaking to the heart. It really gets to the grip on the subject. I love this, accept the fortune, taking care of the mind. Actually, we have to be careful what we accept, because we can be our own worst enemy in this lower phase, but others also. So to reach others, we have to take care and reach out, reach the highest, see the highest. It's very fascinating. Thank you. Welcome back to Prashant, and we've got some inquiries for you when you're ready. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. And yes, thank you for understanding this journey of all of us. And when everyone is going through all these phases, it makes us humble to understand that everyone has been deity at some point. They were in their highest. They were Brahmins, and we may be at one phase right now, but we will change. We will be something very different. And to understand this merry-go-round that is going on, things are changing, and someone has his day today, and it changes after some time. But behind all this, our biggest wisdom is to create time to be soul conscious. This moment, we have the option to be soul conscious. And it just means the soul, the tiny, invisible observer, he is conscious and he's seeing the physical world distinctly separate from him. Yeah, excellent. So very happy to hear.
One question, why did we create bondage for the first time?
First thing that happens is we are not physically in our home, our family. Just as if you go to some other place, just another, you are a tourist. And we got one friend here in Cambridge. She used to go to Scotland on holidays. For 1 week, she used to go to Scotland. And after some time, she decided she will live in Scotland. It gives an idea. They bought the house in Scotland, moved to Scotland. So this is like a tendency. Moment you go to some place, you are not connected to your home, and that becomes less real to you. And some internal, some emptiness. It might be 0.1%, but you are not experiencing your home. That makes you vulnerable to take that 0.1% support from something external. And then the downward spiral starts. And just like a top, you spin the top. You just touch it a little bit, and it creates a tiny wobble in that top. But what happens? Next time around, that wobble becomes bigger, and then it becomes bigger until it topples. So something similar. You create this 0.1% change, and that 0.1% bondage. In the next turn, it becomes 2%, and it becomes 0.3%. It grows, and then it gets a huge momentum.
In this world we live in, it appears, one question here, that capitalism is a system that encourages the wobble, if you like, in this context. It pulls us out of ourselves, it makes us merchants and feeds the Shudra. Any thoughts?
Regardless of the system that exists outside, it is the inner tendency. Even in the communist system, there will be merchants and Shudras.
Do we cross the line of ignorance in all the phases? It's a question that just dropped in.
So we cross the line at one point, and then The very fact that we go into the warrior, we have crossed the line, and then we continue to go further down.
So the line that is drawn and the dotted line is actually the drop from deity to warrior.
Yeah.
And as a Brahmin, we're learning to come above the line.
Yes, yes.
Which then creates the deity.
Yeah.
Angel. So is the challenge to remove the other phases?
From whom?
From the self, like we have these tendencies we see, so the mission is to be Brahmin and remove the other.
And no, what all that is happening now is you are discovering the extraordinary truth, the truth of yourselves, truth of all the other invisible travelers. You understand your immortality, you know the greatness of others. That's why the deity are deities because they are soul conscious. So you are working on that truth, foundation is truth, and it automatically removes Ravan, and it automatically removes. These are all different variations, manifestations from Ravan, those different tendencies.
Right now, you mentioned there may be some in the deity phase, but they can't be completely 100% deities, can they, in this world? Like expression here is pure deities.
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll get more chance when we speak of the cycle to understand about the pure deities. But everyone starts 100% clean. And maybe in the one lifetime, they're already losing it. As they become adult, they may be losing it. But in the present age, it doesn't need to be like that. But yes, we all start deities. 100%.
Right now, do you think more than 50% are in the warrior phase?
As was said, different places, different cities, the ratio may be different.
We can't really tell, can we? Like if someone is a shopkeeper, they might not necessarily be in the merchant phase, for example.
Yeah, it is outer life is more like a trade. So there can be 4 doctors, and one is in the merchant phase. He's a doctor, but he's internally merchant. One is the Brahmin, one is a deity. So they could be very different. Inner life is something very different to outer trade that they are doing.
How about traveling? We talked about Everest, but if someone wants to see the world, how would a Brahmin see this?
The one who is in the Brahmin phase, if that is a question, his priorities are different. That just seeing something, that is not his priority. As was said, he has things to do. There are things to achieve. He takes responsibility. Gandhi, we were talking about. Will he go for sightseeing tour? He had so many projects, in his hand, so cannot afford to do that.
Maybe they would travel for self-realization purposes, but even that.
And warrior, and more likely merchants, they might have that kind of interest. Shudras, if there is traveling with lots of parties, then Shudras will be interested in that.
Yeah. Now, this tendency of negative mindset, is negativity different from self-deprecation? So that is like when we make oneself small in the name of humility, but it has a little flavor of, could be fear or pride, maybe. Any comments on that? Self-deprecation, is it different from negativity? Like when you say, I'm not very good at this, but it might be in the name of humility.
In some cultures, there is that style language, which I do not particularly see it as a problem if it is in the right level. If it becomes over the top and person really feels it, it may be a problem. But it is like a little bit these cultures where there is self-deprecation, and in the language that lowers the ego hype a little bit. So it is in a sense positive in a measured way, but anything, it can be imbalanced.
Reach another identity, but yes, take the point. Someone sharing, they've seen others going down the spiral and some going up. Just as you were sharing, is there a preferred order? I don't know if I've understood the question. Do you understand it?
The order is to go up. But ordinarily, superficially, when we see others, we can't know whether they are going up or down. We don't know about others. To go up, you need to have proper understanding. As we said, the nature, if you throw something, it will go down. The natural tendency at the moment is going down. The spiral is downwards. Going up needs a deliberate effort with the right knowledge also. And so if someone is doing this, that is great news. Maybe one question from me. We spoke about all these different phases, and we spoke about deity. Those who are in the deity phase, they are perfect men. And the others feel perfection, they themselves, they don't have any weaknesses in a blatant way. Inside or outside, they are clean. But we still say Brahmins are at the top, we have shown, and deities second. Why? Brahmins are not perfect, they are students. Deities are perfect, and still Brahmins are shown on the top. Why?
The question. Brahmin is the exit, the one that's bringing everyone up. They know God. They understand the whole picture. And we need knowledge first. So that's like what creates the deity. They lead towards being a deity. It's like the potential. They open the learning called knowledge, that they are open to learning knowledge. Did we get the right answer?
Yeah, it is nice to know that in this context, different clans have got their own contribution to the community. For example, the warriors, they bring the factor of competition in the community. They we saw, they want to go climb the Mount Everest, they want to do something. And it is a little bit of a distraction from, that is the way the story is, but their contribution is ultimately, is wasteful. Like if in a family there is competition, they all want a bigger car and bigger car, then there is no food on the table. They all want a bigger car. It is a bit like that. The Brahmins, the warriors can very easily be drawn into competition. They create competition, and distract others also in that. Merchants, they bring some kind of manipulation, and along with all the trade and all that is happening, their deeper tendency, they bring the factor of manipulation. For example, you go to the shops, they want to sell something for 99 pounds 99 pence. So they are really selling it for 100 pounds. Why do they go out of the way to say 99 pounds 99 pence? They want to make you feel that it is, you're getting something cheaper. And this is blatant. They shamelessly, they are happy to say that 99 pound 99 pence. And given the chance, they will sort of give you the impression as if you are getting something bargain. Whereas deity would say it is 100 pounds, but I'm giving you the best product. That will be upfront. They love you. Deities bring love. They want you to have the best one. They will tell you this is the best one. This is not the best, but a little cheaper. But they want to see that you are happy ultimately. That is deity. Whereas merchants, you can't trust there. What they advise. They will be giving you something that may be more for their own, for that they want money. You go to the Shudra level, they can overtly cheat you also. And the Shudra go another level down, and because their urgency is more, they desperation is more. They have more needs, and so they will be going to that level. And demons, they can be aggressive, they can be threatening, they can be violent. Most of the time it is not required, but if need be, they can go to that level. Those who are at a merchant level, they will not ever think of going into aggression to get what they need. One person said to me, he's the very sensible person, but at one time he had a drug problem, and he said he could have murdered, and that's the expression he used. He could have murdered someone to get money because the desperation for drug was so big that anything could have happened. This kind of situation happens, when there is desperation. And those who are in the demonic phase, small thing, that desperation. Those who are in the merchant warrior, they don't push themselves to that level. They would rather die than think of murder or something. But the demons can. Deities are loving. They are completely different game. Brahmins make others into deities. They bring themselves to the deity level, and they make others into deities. All those who are in the warrior phase and merchant phase, Shudra, Brahmins lift everyone else up, make them into deities. They have the knowledge. Brahmins have the secret how this can be changed and make themselves into deities. That makes them the highest. brings them to the top.
Reminds me of this year's wreath lectures from the BBC, and the person sharing is working with criminals, and the question is violence normal? And it's extraordinary insight she has working with them, because it's like it's as if from a spiritual explanation, Ravan, one of Ravan's heads has become so big, so desperate, and you really understand, what she has seen, that it can happen, how it happens, and that's really how to win this inner game, because what can happen when we go down the spiral, it becomes very clear. Wake up call. This question, there's a few questions, maybe we can address them, and then I know we've just come to time. Someone is asking, if we go through all these phases and it's inevitable, why not just surf the wave and roll with the process with all its ups and downs?
At the moment, it is down. It is not up. And at the life outside, it is having all the drama, script, and there will be different plots. But if we do not pay attention, the movement is downward. And as we go downward, we are going into that ignorance. There are more penalties. We are into the Ravan's world. To start with, it is confusion and ignorance. It leads to degradation, more bondages, and more sorrows. That is the direction we are talking about. And then outside world also, it is like the world already is at the lowest condition of the soul. So this is the opportunity when we have the option to bring everyone up. But we can do it only if we start with ourselves.
We have to learn, but it's through wisdom or the signals of pain. So this beautiful option to learn through wisdom and help others. Whilst in any stage, we may be totally unaware. So is it not better to be truth seekers, to come out of whatever confusion, darkness?
Seekers, but now we found the truth. So one is seeking, that can go on eternally, but now to put into practice. And as we put it into practice, as we experiment with it, we'll experience more aspects of it. It is not just information to come in the experience. That is the important part there.
Someone is asking, is it correct? You can't become a Brahmin without the intentional effort. But presume you don't have to make effort to transfer to the other phases. This is correct.
Yes. And
it's like you don't need effort to fall, but you need effort to go up.
Go up, yeah. Our effort is to become a student. That is a decision. Unless someone says, I want to be a student, he can't just become a student. So there's a decision to be a student, and then follow the structure of the student, disciplines of the student. He knows why he's doing it, because he has to restrain Ravan. He knows exactly why he's doing every aspect, but he understands it is in his interest to stop Ravan, and then he is happy to move up the spiral.
How can this be a fast process to be a Brahmin and work towards the deity? That's the last question, by the way.
Giving value to our time. That is all. We have understood it all. Now the question arises, from today till tomorrow, what do we do with our time? So if I want to move fast, then I will go in the right direction. If I am going in opposite direction, then I won't be reaching the destination at a fast speed. So this is all, what am I doing with my time and giving value to time.
So would you like to share any focus or homework before we meet again tomorrow? And any
What we discussed today is more like as we have said, sociology. It helps us understand the world and in our context, and it's just idle. You say, okay, I'm dealing with the merchant here, I'm dealing with a warrior here. Okay, this is the way the society is, and you are tolerant, your acceptance, that is nice in this. Not to go too much into analyzing everyone, but homework for us is what we've been talking in the earlier sessions. That we have to use the best intellect and bottom line, get soul consciousness. Step out of this whole story world. Be the invisible witness. Yeah, we'll get more opportunity to experience tomorrow.
Thank you so much. We'll be sharing the link for this on the same YouTube channel, and enjoy your experiments with the essence and understanding the expansion. And see you tomorrow. Thank you.